car crash cases, defective products, dangerous drugs, injuries, and abuse. Across the state of Alabama, the attorneys, proudly sponsored by the law firm of Hollis, Wright, are here to serve you. Your tough legal questions answered by our experts. The Attorneys with Josh Wright from the law firm of Hollis, Wright, and host David Lamb.
Hello and welcome into The Attorneys. We appreciate you spending your Sunday evening with us. For the next half hour, we have assembled a panel of experts to deal with questions that we believe will be of interest to you. Now, the way it works is for you to get your questions into us. For that to happen, you have to call, text, email. That information will be on your screen throughout the program. Also, a neat deal is that there's an attorney standing by right now to take your call, so opportunity to get some good free legal advice if you'll just pick up the phone and make a call today. And leading our conversation tonight, Tyler Vail of the firm Hollis, Wright. Good to see you, sir.
Thank you, David. I know it's been a while.
It has been
back.
Glad to have you back. It's always good when you're here.
Thank you. Thank you.
An interesting conversation tonight. We've dealt with this subject before, but boy, it seems like it's ever changing.
It's constantly changing, and it never fails to surprise you what kind of phone calls you're going to get when you're sitting at your office.
I bet.
We've done shows on. It's just going to be about general personal injuries. Okay, and we've done shows on car wrecks. We've done separate shows on 18-wheelers. We've done separate shows on premise liability. Well, tonight we're going to kind of give just a quick synopsis of all of those topics, into one. And so tonight we have Champ Crocker with us, the law firm of Crocker and Sparks out of Coleman, Alabama. Champ's a fantastic lawyer. He's a good friend of mine. I mean, we went to law school together.
Yep.
Wow.
We've probably known each other for the better part of 18 years or more.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, we're getting old, but he still has his Hollywood good looks. And Champ's just a fantastic guy. He's one of these guys where I remember when I met him first time in law school, you just knew he was going to be just a good lawyer.
Right.
He just had it all. I mean, great orator, can speak well, friends with everybody, but also just extremely intelligent. And of course, his law practice has shown his successes, over the years. So I'm very glad, Champ. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Well, thank you, Tyler. It's great to be here. It's good to be back.
The topic of conversation tonight, personal injury, and we're going to go through different types. So in dealing with personal injury cases, kind of what types do you deal with, Champ, in your practice?
Quite a few. A lot of car wrecks, 18-wheeler collisions, slip and fall, premises liability. There are a lot of different ways in which people can be injured, unfortunately. And we hope to educate the public on that and what their rights are if they do get injured.
Yeah. For both of you guys, I guess, what types of cases are the most common for you? Tyler?
At our firm, probably the most common are just car wrecks.
Yeah.
Just simple two-car accidents, I guess, involving just two normal vehicles that you and I would both drive. Other than that, I don't know, probably 18-wheeler cases or, they're, and we'll get into this a little bit, but that's just a more difficult case for many reasons. You're dealing with a whole different set of regulations and laws, and usually the injuries are so much more substantial, and you're dealing with family members who most times have lost a loved one. It's just a whole other group of factors kind of come into play. But probably the most common is just your average everyday car wrecks.
Yours similar car accidents?
Very much so. And as Tyler said, 18-wheeler wrecks are different from your typical passenger car wreck.
Right.
Tractor trailers are highly regulated. You're dealing with professional drivers as opposed to non-professional drivers like most of us on the road are. But yet the injuries are usually much more substantial, often fatal. And it's important if you're involved in a wreck like that, or a family member is involved in a wreck with an 18-wheeler, that you hire a lawyer who is familiar with those regulations and those things. I know Tyler's firm does a great job of that.
Let's deal with car accidents, vehicle accidents first. What are some basic pointers you can give to folks who've been involved in a car accident? Kind of walk us through some things we should keep in mind and what we should and shouldn't do.
We're probably preaching to the choir for a lot of this, because I would say the majority of viewers have been involved in a car accident at some point in time since they started driving in high school up until now. And for the majority of folks, hopefully it wasn't anything too severe, more like property damage type stuff. And so if we're dealing with a property damage type case where basically you accidentally just rear end somebody going a few miles an hour, or vice versa, somebody rear ends you, you kind of get out, assess the damage, maybe take some pictures of the vehicle, exchange insurance information, get if there's any witnesses, try to get the witness information. And of course, since no one's hurt in these type accidents, call the police, get a police report, because if you're going to deal with your insurance company, the first thing the insurance company is going to want to know is, do you have an accident report to kind of just explain more of what happened. But when you're dealing with a personal injury type case, it's a little different. I'll let Champ kind of talk about this.
It is different, and what we're seeing more and more of, and Tyler, I'm sure y'all are too, is distracted driving causing car wrecks.
Right.
All you have to do is drive down the road and look at people with their heads down in the cell phone. And we're seeing those cell phones becoming evidence more and more often in car wreck cases.
That's very true.
And people don't think that if they're sending a text or checking Facebook or tweeting, that can be evidence that can be used against them in court. It absolutely can be.
Yeah, it's all date and time stamped.
It is.
Honestly,
it is.
and you bring up a good point. I mean, I would say probably 1/3 to 40% of every new car wreck case we've gotten in the past 12 months has involved distracted driving. And of course, we're getting the phone records, and it shows, exactly the number you're sending it to, the time it was sent. There's just no way, around it. You can't beat the technology and say, oh, I wasn't on the phone, because it's clear that it keeps track to the second. Yeah.
And they've all got GPS, or most of them do, and we're seeing that be a factor as well. There are experts now who can mine a phone for data to pinpoint the location where it was and what sort of information and activity was going on that cell phone.
Another reason to keep that phone tucked away.
Keep it tucked away.
It's just not worth it.
It's not worth it. It can wait.
Should you contact your insurance carrier if you've been in an accident?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure, absolutely.
Immediately?
I usually wait till the police report is done, or if I'm talking to a client and they call and say, hey, I was just in this accident that happened, this morning or yesterday, do I need to call my insurance company? I was like, yeah, you absolutely need to talk to your insurance company. But you might want to wait another day and just kind of get the police report, make sure the police report is correct, because oftentimes, it's not. They may just have the vehicles, misnumbered, where they may put you at the rear car instead of the front car, things like that. So always wait till the police report's ready, and then I would send it on to the insurance company and talk with them.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Sometimes you just get, there's so much either bad advice or you just don't know. You have an uncle or a friend who knows everything, but you don't know if they know what they're talking about.
I got several of them.
One of those subject matters is what to do with the car if you're in an accident. Do you leave it on the road? Do you pull it to the side? What are you supposed to do there if you're on 280 and you get rear-ended?
Oh, Champ, take that.
I'm sure that there is more than one school of thought on that. Some officers will tell people, move it if you can so it doesn't impede the flow of traffic.
Okay.
Well, sometimes that car is immovable and you couldn't move it if you wanted to. And sure, there's 1,000 motorists behind you.
Right.
But you got to use common sense. You got to use safety.
Right.
You certainly wouldn't want to cause an injury to someone else or yourself by trying to move a car out of the road. But it's the kind of thing where people should use their best judgment. Certainly if there is evidence there, you wouldn't want to destroy any evidence by way of trying to do the right thing. But I would say it comes down to using common sense, good judgment, and listen to the police officers who are on the scene.
I think ideally a police officer would love to see the cars exactly where they collided and the exact location of impact and where you were on the road if somebody was crossing over a center line.
Right.
But at the same time, Champ's right. If you're on Highway 280 and it's just a very small impact, everybody's fine, nobody's hurt, you're blocking 2 lanes of 3 lanes on 280, at rush hour. If it's safe, move your car over. Get out of the way. Use some common sense.
All right. Time now to step aside for our first break of the evening. As we do so, a reminder how you can join the conversation. Call, text, email. We'd love to hear from you. Stay tuned. More of The Attorneys coming right up.
I'm Carter Clay with the law firm of Hollis, Wright. Thanks for watching The Attorneys on WVTM 13. Now, we hope you, a friend, or a loved one never need legal counsel for a case. But if you do, the goal of this show is simple: to provide answers and legal counsel when you need it the most. Your call to the show is free, so if you have questions specific to this show or related to other specific legal matters, call, email, or text us to talk with one of our lawyers. You can also follow us on Facebook or Twitter to learn about important legal news that could affect you or your family member. Or simply contact us by going to WVTM13.com and click on the attorney's link. Now, we know your time is valuable, so thank you for spending it with us and for watching The Attorneys right here on WVTM 13.
Welcome back into The Attorneys. We'd love to have you join the conversation. You can call us, text us, or email that information at the bottom of your screen. Let's wrap up on car accidents real quick. First of all, should you ever admit fault to an arresting officer if you're involved in an accident or to the other parties involved?
You should let the officer do their job. They're trained professionals. Officers are professionals. Lawyers are professionals. Let them do their jobs.
When should I contact an attorney, you think?
The sooner the better.
Okay.
And that's true with every case, not just car wrecks. I mean, the amount of evidence that can go away very quickly, and we see this practicing day to day. I mean, even on simple car wrecks, getting witness statements early, getting, if you need to download black box data from a car, that needs to happen right away.
The time matters.
So, yeah, because a year down the road, you may get a phone call and you try to find some information. The car's already been impounded by the insurance company. Witnesses have moved on. You got nothing. So, sooner the better.
How are 18-wheeler cases different from car accident cases?
Yeah, and we touched on this a few minutes ago, but Champ, go ahead.
Practically speaking, if you are in a wreck with an 18-wheeler, more likely than not, the trucking companies, insurance carrier, investigators, and sometimes even lawyers will be on the scene of your wreck while you were on the way to the hospital.
Really?
That's a fact. And to Tyler's point, it's the sooner the better in contacting a lawyer if you've been injured. I agree with that. You're still going to be behind. You're still going to be playing catch up because they will have a team of people on the scene within a couple hours. Mm-hmm. And so it is important for you to contact a lawyer as soon as possible. There's black box data that is in every one of these trucks. Qualcomm, other programs that track these things. Most logbooks are electronic now, rather than paper. And there is a lot of evidence to be gathered in these cases. And I certainly would not wait to contact a lawyer if you're involved in a wreck with an 18-wheeler.
Very true, very true. And I know we've mentioned black box a couple of times, and what we're talking about it's very similar to a black box on airplanes. When people hear about an airplane going down, what happened in that cockpit right before the crash? It's kind of the exact same with a truck. I mean, what happened right before the point of impact? The speed, how fast were they going? It can tell you where the brakes applied. How hard were the brakes applied? I mean, was there any kind of brake failure? I mean, it will take every bit of data that's available from these different systems in the car and put it all down and print it out where we can look at or have an expert analyze it and say, oh, here's exactly what happened. Bam, 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 and it's huge. Evidence-wise, it's huge.
Is there also a difference? I mean, in terms of someone who's behind the wheel of a car. I mean, there are some. We pass tests. Certainly, when you get your license.
At least once.
But, yeah, we hope.
There should be more.
Right. But that's not nearly as, I guess, regulated or the amount of follow-up to the regular driver versus someone who drives an 18-wheeler. That's a much more regulated industry. I think weight isn't weight and so many other different factors, just much more responsibility. And I'm sure it's because of the size of the vehicles.
Oh, absolutely.
Just gigantic.
They're driving 50-ton missiles down the road at speeds of 70 miles an hour or greater. No, that's exactly right. And just going back to the actual driver, like I said, we have to take a simple test, when we're 15 to get a learner's permit, and then a driving test at 16 to get our license, and I don't think we ever have to take it again after that. So, unless you get in trouble or get some DUIs or something, you have it suspended and have to go through it again. But for the majority of people, that never happens. Now, on the professional truck driver, it's a lot different. I mean, they may have to submit to annual physicals to make sure that they're physically capable of driving these trucks. You don't, just something as simple as like sleep apnea, may prevent somebody from driving a truck. And so these just routine physicals, health checks that you and I never have to take, they may have to take every year.
Yeah. Let's pivot a bit to wrongful death, and just kind of from a jumping off point, let's start with kind of the definition, or a working definition, of what is a wrongful death claim in kind of plain English, I guess you could say.
Well, in Alabama, it's a little different procedurally than other states, but to answer your question, a wrongful death claim is a claim against another party who, through negligence, wantonness, or intentional conduct, caused the death of another human being.
Okay.
And in Alabama, those damages for wrongful death are punitive only.
Right.
Because the legislature did not want to value one life over another in the state of Alabama. All life is valued the same under the terms of our wrongful death statute, regardless of that victim's station in life.
That's right.
And who can file a wrongful death claim?
Well, I mean, I'll take this, but the statute, there's some statutes in Alabama that dictate, who can file the wrongful death claim. It has to be an administrator appointed by the probate court in the county in which the individual died.
Okay.
So that can be a number of people. It could be a spouse, it could be a child if they're proper age and mental capacity. It depends. There's so many issues,
Could it
from
even
county
be a
to
parent,
county.
if it's a young child?
Absolutely, it could be a parent. It could be another lawyer. It could be a friend. I mean, it just depends. Who's able to serve. I mean, the judge will hold a hearing if need be, and then they say, yeah, this person can be the administrator. Now, just because you're the administrator doesn't mean that you're entitled to any of the proceeds that you may get from the lawsuit.
correct.
So it's simply just, a placeholder, so to speak, that you're the administrator. But it doesn't guarantee you anything from any recovery.
And it's important to mention that in wrongful death cases, even though it's done through probate court and it requires a probate judge signing off on the letters of administration, those claims are not subject to creditors' claims, such as your estate would be.
Right.
And but they pass, the proceeds pass according to intestate succession, which is if you died without a will. That is how wrongful death proceeds are distributed.
Right.
And I would say this, for most commonly, it is the surviving spouse.
Right.
If the victim was married. But the surviving spouse has got 40 days after the death to have priority to administer the estate. So if you're the surviving spouse and you wait more than 40 days, you could lose your priority to be over the estate and to file a wrongful death claim.
Yeah. Time for us to take our second and final break of the evening. As we do so, a reminder of how you can track the firm of Hollis Wright on social media. If you search the term Hollis Wright, you'll find them on Facebook and on Twitter. It's Hollis_Wright. Stay tuned. More of The Attorneys coming right up.
I'm Tyler Vail with the law firm of Hollis Wright. As with any industry, it's important in the legal world to hire an attorney that is knowledgeable and has a track record of success. But with so many attorneys out there and so many different types of cases, how does someone decide the right lawyer to hire? In this week's Legal 411, we're answering the question, what should I consider in hiring an attorney? In-state versus out-of-state, big firm or little firm? Recommendations from friends or family? The internet, the phone book, or TV. With so many choices and so much information, it can be an overwhelming task trying to make the right decision. To complicate things, choosing a lawyer is an important and sometimes life-affecting decision and should not be taken lightly. So how do you select an attorney? Do your research. Look the firm up on the internet. Ask friends and family whether they know or have any experience with a specific firm. If you know any local lawyers, ask them about the reputation of the firms you may be considering. Call a local law office and ask if they are handling cases like yours. There's a good chance they can help you. But if they can't, they can always refer you to someone they respect who handles your type of case. And remember, ask questions face to face. Ask about their experience in handling cases like yours. How often someone from their office will be available to you, and what you can expect during the process. Please remember, your call, email, or text to the attorneys is free. All of us at Hollis Wright want to help answer your questions on real issues you face. Remember, a competent lawyer will respond to every question you send in. That's our pledge and promise to you.
Welcome back into the attorneys. This is our final segment, so the clock is ticking. If you'd like to get in touch with us or take advantage of that, an attorney standing by to speak with you, you got just a few minutes remaining to do so. We're talking about wrongful death cases whenever we went to break. For both of you all in your practices, what are typical wrongful death cases that you see?
Typically, some sort of car wreck. It can be an 18-wheeler collision. It can be a drunk driving wreck, but most typically it involves some sort of automotive collision. And I think it's important for people to realize that just because someone has been charged criminally with a homicide, like with a drunk driving accident, for example, that is a separate matter from any civil remedy that you may have. Tyler and I handle civil cases against drunk drivers and negligent motorists. That is a separate issue from any criminal matter that is pending.
Yeah, I agree. The majority of the wrongful death cases we look at involve a roadway of some nature, or even train tracks, some modes of transportation, usually involving commercial carriers. Also maybe nursing home cases. Personally, I handle a lot of wrongful death cases involving, pharmaceuticals, medical devices, of that nature. But yeah, I'd say anything involving commercial carriers is probably the number one cause.
Can you give me a working definition of a legal term that you hear quite a bit is premises liability? Can you give me a working definition of what that would be?
Getting hurt on somebody else's property.
Okay. So, for example, at a big box store, you go to a big box store, you slip and fall and hurt.
Sure.
Right? Okay,
yes.
that would be...
That's a good example.
All right, so if that takes place, is that the place where you are they always liable? Is there always a case there?
No, there's not. And the Alabama law is not great for plaintiffs.
Those are tough cases.
Those are tough cases. You still have to show that the premises owner was negligent in some way, whether it's a big box store or your neighbor who's got a short step.
Yeah, can you give me an example of in a store, place like that?
Well, it's kind
what does it look
of,
like?
you need to show that the owner of the property actually had notice maybe of this defect. If there's a huge hole in your yard that's 2 feet deep that you just dug and it's been sitting there for 2 weeks, and you cover the top over it with leaves, somebody will see it and invite a bunch of people over. Well, there's a chance somebody's going to step in it and break a leg. Well, you had notice of that, and then you concealed the defect. So if you can show at a big box store like your example, say that somebody spilled a carton of milk.
Right.
And a bunch of employees walked over to it, were looking down at the milk, kind of scratching their heads, and then just kind of walked off from it and left it there. And then 10 minutes later, somebody's coming by, they step in the milk, slip, fall, break their hip, which is a case we worked on just a few months ago at our firm. You can show that they had notice of this, and they were negligent in not cleaning up the mess. They knew there was going to be patrons coming down that aisle in the store. They had 10 minutes to clean it up, and they chose to do nothing about it. Well, then they're going to be liable, But if it's a kid with their parents, and the kids throwing grapes at each other, and then they step on their own grape and fall down right then, that's probably not a case.
Right. What if I have somebody over to watch the big game at my house? Okay, have a big group over. someone gets hurt, okay?
It's likely at your house too, by the way.
What's that?
That's very likely at your house.
Because of the lambs are crazy. Yeah. If that happens, am I responsible for the injury, or does it kind of go back to the covered up hole in the yard?
Yeah, no, I would say most of the time not. I mean, not if people are just roughhousing and having fun. I mean, that's just part of it. Now,
well, unless you've got some sort of hidden trap at your house.
Or you're serving alcohol to minors, or you're doing something that just breaks the law, well then you're on the hook. But yeah, just having friends over and having fun and something happens, that definitely doesn't mean you're liable.
If we have time, I think we're getting close on time, but well, we just got 2 minutes. We're out of time. It flies by. I want to give you guys a chance to, just a final thought from you guys, and Champ will allow you to go first, please, sir.
Well, I just hope that people use safety, use common sense. If I had to say one thing, I would repeat what I said earlier. The cell phones, put them down when you're driving. It can wait.
Yeah, that's a great final thought. That's right. And what I would tell people is, look, in our practices, I'm surprised every day at the kind of calls we get and the kind of accidents that people get in. When you think you've seen it all and nothing else could happen, just show up on Monday morning, and you're going to get new cases. So don't be afraid to call. Get a lawyer in, get a lawyer involved as soon as you can. It's only going to help your case. And if it's not a case, we'll let you know that as well. I mean, so there's no big deal. Give us a call, email us, text us, anytime, man. We're happy to help. That's what we're here for.
Yeah. We got to have Champ back because we got so many questions left to go through.
I know.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Thank y'all.
We covered a lot of ground. Hopefully it was helpful, but appreciate you guys. Thanks so much. And Champ, you're in Coleman?
I am.
Right?
He's in Coleman, but he handles cases everywhere. All over.
Yeah. With an introduction like Tyler gave.
Yeah, that's
you got to take him out to dinner.
Oh, I'm going to.
He's the man. Champ's the man.
Champ's the man. Well, good deal. Thank you guys, both of you, for being with us. And as always, thank you as well. We really do appreciate you joining us each and every Sunday night here on Channel 13. As we wrap things up, a couple of reminders. The firm of Hollis Wright, they answer every email. So if you have a question and maybe you didn't get it in, you can still get it answered. That's the email address right there. You can email them or call, text as well. And a great thing, a lot of helpful information as you look them up on Facebook as well as Twitter. So thanks so much for being with us. We'll look for you next time right here on The Attorneys.
Thanks for watching The Attorneys, sponsored by Hollis Wright.